Good evening on World News Tonight. Mideast crisis. Iran and US agree deal to end war as Trump says Strait of Hormuz will be reopened. Diplomatic meetings. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrives in Slovakia as first Indian Prime Minister to visit since 1993. Country vibes. Rising country music demands Sparks Line dancing craze in Newfoundland.
From Colombo, this is World News Tonight with Amarsha Fernando.
Good evening and thank you for joining us on World News Tonight on the Derana News channel. Tonight we begin in Iran. The US and Iran have announced the complete cessation of hostilities and lifting of a naval blockade on the Strait of Hormuz. The newly minted Islamabad Memorandum of Understanding means a permanent truce on all fronts, including Lebanon.
U.S. and Iranian officials said Sunday that they've agreed on a framework to end months of war, reopen the Strait of Hormuz, and lift the U.S. blockade on Iran. The preliminary pact has sent oil prices falling, but leaves the fate of Iran's nuclear program to further negotiations. In a social media post, President Donald Trump declared the deal complete and told the ships of the world to start your engines, let the oil flow. Trump also wrote that the strait would reopen upon the signing of the deal on Friday. Pakistan's Prime Minister Shehbaz Sharif, who helped mediate, said the agreement includes an immediate halt to military operations. The agreement between the countries is scheduled to be officially signed on Friday in Switzerland. Iran's Supreme National Security Council said war and military operations on all fronts, including Lebanon, would end permanently starting on Monday night. There was no immediate reaction from Israel, which has said it was not party to the U.S.-Iran talks. Lebanon has been a major hurdle in the talks, with Israel and Hezbollah continuing to trade attacks despite repeated calls to de-escalate. Oil prices dropped more than 4% on early Asian trade, while Asian stocks climbed. But major questions remain. Iran's deputy foreign minister said broader issues, including sanctions relief, will be negotiated during a 60-day ceasefire. The conflict has killed thousands and roiled global energy markets, and the next phase of talks could prove decisive.
9 people have been killed and several others injured in a wave of Russian strikes on Ukraine, with a major religious landmark in the capital Kyiv catching fire.
A historic monastery in Kyiv caught fire on Monday in what officials called the heaviest Russian air attack on the capital in 2 weeks. The city's military administration said the centuries-old UNESCO-listed Kyiv Pechersk Lavra was seriously damaged in a direct attack. Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia Sviridenko blamed Russia and called it, quote, a brutal assault on our people and our heritage. Authorities said drones and missiles hit residential buildings and damaged power lines, leaving about 140,000 people without electricity. Several people were killed and dozens more wounded. In Kharkiv, Interior Minister Ihor Klimenko said a second strike killed 4 emergency responders and an official, while local officials reported injuries in Sumy. Meanwhile, Ukraine said it struck 2 bridges linking Russia-controlled territory to Crimea, in what officials described as an effort to disrupt supplies to the peninsula. Russia and Ukraine deny targeting civilians, and Reuters could not independently verify the reports. The strikes came a day after President Volodymyr Zelensky said Sunday that he had spoken with U.S. President Donald Trump about efforts to end the war. Zelensky had earlier proposed direct talks with Russian President Vladimir Putin involving the U.S. and Europe, an idea backed by Britain, Germany, and France, but rejected by Moscow. On Sunday, the Kremlin said Trump told Putin that ending the conflict was vital and that he was ready to help. Progress towards a peace agreement has been slow, with U.S. officials and mediators concentrating on the conflict in the Middle East.
The stepson of Norway's Crown Prince Haakon was found guilty of rape and domestic violence and sentenced to 4 years in prison after a 7-week trial that had further dented the royal family's once picture-perfect image.
The 3 judges in courtroom 250 at Oslo District Court cleared him of 2 other counts of rape, but found him guilty of many of the other offences of which he had been accused. Højby was not in court for the verdict for unspecified health reasons, but joined the session via video link. Prosecutors had called for Højby to be given 7 years and 7 months in prison and his defense lawyers had called for a lesser term of 18 months and can appeal against the verdict. Even though Marius Bog-Hoyby is not himself a royal figure, the trial has cast a shadow over the broader royal family. His mother married Crown Prince Haakon when he was 4, and he grew up within the family. Mette-Marit has been very ill with a form of pulmonary fibrosis and has recently been placed on a lung transplant list. Her son's lawyers have repeatedly sought his release from prison so he could spend time with his mother because of her declining health. After the verdict, Hoyby's defense lawyer Peter Sekulic again asked the court for his release. Although Oslo District Court initially granted his release last week, the decision was overturned by the Supreme Court. Hoyby had denied all 4 counts of rape, but the judges convicted him of raping 2 women, including one on the Crown Prince's estate at Sagum in 2018 and another involving a woman in Oslo in 2024. He was also convicted of abusing an ex-girlfriend, Norwegian influencer Nora Hochland, and of causing serious bodily harm to other partners, in whose flat he was arrested in the upmarket Frogner area of Oslo in August 2024. However, he was cleared of 2 further rapes involving a woman he met at a hotel in Oslo in November 2024 and another he met while on holiday in the Lofoten Islands in 2023.
11 skydivers and a pilot were killed after the plane they were on crashed in Butler, Missouri. The aircraft had just taken off but was unable to gain altitude and then is believed to have crashed when attempting to land on a highway.
Tonight, officials say a pilot and 11 skydivers on board a small plane were killed shortly after takeoff. At around 11:30 this morning, initial 911 calls reported the plane had crashed and burst into flames at Butler Memorial Airport about an hour south of Kansas City.
The plane took off, and then at that point, it went down. We're not sure exactly anything beyond that.
The plane was a Pacific Aerospace P-750, like this one, used primarily for skydiving and cargo flights. It can hold up to 17 skydivers. The private plane was operated for Skydive Kansas City. Tonight, the Skydiving Center writing in a statement, "Our deepest sympathies are with the families, friends, and loved ones of all who were lost."
We're still trying to identify family and make notifications.
Butler's airport is small. Skydiving is popular in the area. The skydiving season in Missouri usually begins in the spring and lasts until October. Families have been gathering nearby the airport, waiting for information from the sheriff.
There's nothing we really can say to make it better. We just pray for them and their loved ones and their friends and their family, and hope that they can recover.
Let's take a short commercial break. More world news on the other side. And welcome back. Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi arrived in Slovakia for the second leg of his 3-nation European tour, marking the first visit by an Indian Prime Minister to this country since its gained independence in 1993.
During his 2-day stay in Bratislava, Modi is scheduled to hold bilateral talks with Slovak President Peter Pellegrini and Prime Minister Robert Fico. He will also engage in leading Slovak business executives to explore opportunities for expanding economic cooperation between the two countries. The Prime Minister arrived in Slovakia after concluding engagements in France, where he held bilateral discussions with French President Emmanuel Macron and attended the inauguration of the Bharat Innovates event in Nice. According to India's Ministry of External Affairs, Modi was welcomed by Slovak Foreign and European Affairs Minister Gerard Planer and received a traditional bread and salt welcome, a symbol of hospitality, respect and goodwill in Slovakia. India and Slovakia are expected to discuss expanding cooperation in trade, investment, automobile manufacturing, railway production and emerging technologies. New Delhi also views the visit as an opportunity to further strengthen its engagement with the European Union, of which Slovakia is a member. After concluding his Slovakia visit, Modi will travel to France to participate in the G7 summit in Evian on June 16th and 17th. He is expected to hold discussions with G7 leaders and partner countries on global issues such as international cooperation, economic growth and artificial intelligence, besides holding a series of bilateral meetings on the sidelines of the summit.
New polling reveals One Nation leader Pauline Hanson has surged ahead as Australia's preferred Prime Minister, completely shaking up the political landscape. On Wednesday, she will make her highly anticipated debut at the National Press Club, where she'll face intense scrutiny to prove she has the policies and the temperament to take on the major parties.
Rewriting Australian politics as we know it.
We've listened too much to the ideology, the work agenda.
Pauline Hanson's rocket rise, seeing her edge out Anthony Albanese as preferred Prime Minister.
Look, it is a milestone, but let's not, keep our feet on the ground.
The man she wants to replace, attempting to project business as usual.
What I'm doing here is building homes for Australians.
Labor are scared. The Prime Minister has had a wake-up call, especially via the Liar Fund that we've put out.
It's easy to identify grievance. The issue is providing solutions.
It's going to stifle incentivising people in their own businesses.
These taxes need an axe, not a carve-out.
Proposed curbing of tax breaks for property investors provoking mixed reviews in a quick-fire 2-day inquiry.
And hopefully what it'll do will incentivise new builds.
Bizarre that we're seeing tax hikes that put a handbrake on supply.
The government's expected to soon announce adjustments to its plan.
British Prime Minister Keir Starmer has announced that under-16s will be banned from the major social media platforms, including TikTok, Snapchat and Instagram. The UK government said that the measures are part of a plan to keep young people safe online and help address late-night scrolling on phones.
In some of the world's most far-reaching online restrictions to date, British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Monday said he would ban social media sites for under-16s and impose restrictions on gaming and live streaming platforms. Starmer told a press conference that the sweeping changes will reflect Britain's values and help protect children online while pushing back against the power of big technology companies. As well as a ban on sites such as TikTok, Snapchat and Instagram, he said he would take action against gaming and live streaming services.
At the moment, strangers can contact any child unchecked. Just think about that. Is there a situation in the offline world where you would just let your child pair up with a stranger?
Starmer said the government already has the powers to take the first steps in any ban, with regulation to follow by the end of the year and a prohibition in place around next spring. Britain has increasingly toughened its approach to tech companies in recent years. It's urging or forcing them to impose age verification, adapt their algorithms, and, most recently, prevent children from circulating nude images taken on mobile phones. But with a growing awareness of the mental health risks posed by children spending too much time online, Starmer has decided to go further, and the news was welcomed by many.
Well, I think it's a great idea. I feel like, I've got a 2-year-old, so I just kind of think about the future, and I feel like it's probably a really good thing to kind of put that ban in place.
Britain has consulted teachers, parents and young people on new restrictions. It received more than 116,000 responses from parents, industry and young people. More than 83% of parents who responded said risks from social media outweighed benefits. While many parents and politicians back a ban, some psychologists and researchers have said there's no proof that it would work.
An unimaginable scene in Brazil was captured on camera, showing the moment a 21-year-old woman bungee jumping off a bridge was launched without a safety equipment attached.
An unimaginable scene captured on camera. This woman about to be launched into a bungee jump from the top of a bridge in Brazil. But take a close look. The only thing missing is the rope itself. The staff throwing her off the platform without the safety equipment attached. The woman plunging 130 feet to her death. The workers appearing to only realize after the fact what they've done. You can hear someone shouting in Portuguese, "The rope." Emergency crews were immediately dispatched, but the victim, identified by local media as a 21-year-old student, was declared dead at the scene. The governor's office in Sao Paulo says 3 men were arrested for homicide with eventual intent. A police official saying the team operating on the bridge did not have the authorization to be there. An investigation is now underway.
Let's take a short commercial break. More world news on the other side. And welcome back. A shocking crime in broad daylight left a Boston neighborhood on edge. Thieves targeted a group of children running a neighborhood lemonade stand, robbing the young entrepreneurs at gunpoint.
A children's lemonade stand was robbed in broad daylight, and cops are on the hunt for the people who did it. Police in Massachusetts are asking the public for its help in identifying 2 possibly juvenile suspects shown in surveillance footage. Cops say 2 children were operating a lemonade stand in South Boston. The kids told law enforcement that the unidentified suspects made several passes by the stand before they approached and asked whether the kids would accept Apple Pay. Before the young entrepreneurs could respond, the suspects grabbed the stand's pink money box, which contained about $50. One suspect then showed the kids a black firearm in his waistband before the 2 perps fled. The children's mother told NBC Boston that the incident has left her and her kids traumatized. But one bright spot in the sad incident: the community is expected to rally around the kids when they reopen their stand for the weekend.
A massive country music wave swept through St. John's, and local dance floors struggled to keep up with the crowd. From soaring booth sales to packed local classes, fans flocked to learn line dancing ahead of a massive summer concert series in Newfoundland.
High energy, knee-high boots, and high attendance for Colleen Hand's country line dancing lessons in St. John's. Since she started this 4 years ago, demand for her classes skyrocketed, doubling since just last year. So she's traveling all over the province teaching these shuffles. It seems like country fever in Newfoundland and Labrador is everywhere.
I've also gone around to the high schools and the elementary schools and taught kids. So, I mean, it's all ages. It's from 8 to 80 and all walks of life.
This all didn't just come from nowhere, says former Great Big Sea singer and East Coast Music Association head Bob Hallett.
Source material for American country music and the source material for Newfoundland traditional music are the same.
There's a reason country music headlines so many local concerts in this small city. It's about selling enough tickets and recouping your costs.
So you can't have just men or just women. It can't be 18 to 25 or, 35 to 60. You have to hit the broadest territory. And the kind of country music that promoters are talking about bringing here ticks a lot of boxes.
And of course, you can't forget a pair of flashy boots.
For business, it's been absolutely fantastic. And when you have these big festivals, people, as I mentioned, they want to have a good time.
So First Western Boutique in downtown St. John's is also seeing a country music boost, with boots flying off the shelves onto the dance floor. Every line dancer seems ready to step up their game.
And with that, we come to the end of today's edition of World News Tonight. With the hopes of seeing you again, I'm Marsha Fernando, and we leave you tonight with the visuals of a puppy preschool in China. Thank you for watching World News Tonight on the Derana News channel. Please tune in tomorrow for the latest updates, and have a great night ahead.